Hello and welcome to Journeys and Journals. I'm Bernie Martin Beck, and today we're going to talk about music and history. My guest is Pearl. Your last name?
Jones.
Pearl Jones. Now, Pearl, how did you get interested in music?
In kind of desperation, I suppose. I was didn't have an income. I was newly divorced, and I had 3 children to raise.
Well, desperate indeed.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
Well, there was actually 3. I had $8,000 to my name at that point, and so I looked for some place to buy. There were 3 places I could buy. That was a tavern, gift shop, and a record shop. And the record shop, that's the price they wanted, so that I bought it.
Had you been a music lover?
No. Well, yeah, we all like music, but...
Yeah, we had music like these little...
Yeah.
We were a little past the megaphone. What?
Yeah, phonographs. You know, yeah. No, there was record with the 45s and the albums.
Before that, though, were the...
78s, the old big...
Yeah.
Now you're going way even before my time. Whoa.
And music was fun, just fun.
Oh, music is good for you. You know, it keeps you going. That's the first thing you do in the morning is turn on your radio, turn on your news, and get in your car, you turn on your music and your news, and your music goes everywhere with you.
You're talking pre-TV, and when things were... The radio was really a big...
Really important, yeah.
Well, you liked music to start with.
Oh, yes.
And you had 3 little children. Mm-hmm. Where did you find merchandise to sell in your store, or was it already there?
Well, I bought the merchandise that was there, so there already was salespeople come to the store because of it. It's just that I had to be bigger than it was in order to support my family, you know. And the day I opened up, I had $50 in the bank, and that was to run a store and to run my home. And so, but see, you can do it. Now, you just have to live within your means, you know.
You tell me family. How many in your family?
Well, now?
Yeah.
Oh, I never counted. But I have 3 adult children, I have 5 grandchildren. My 3 children still work with me in the store, and 2 of my grandchildren.
Well, name them for me, please.
Well, I'm in the center, and then my children are around me, Grant, Scott, and Peggy. These 3 children are Grant's 3 children, so there's my grandchildren. Peggy, my daughter, that's her 2 sons and her husband.
So this is the family.
That's it.
And if anyone wants to meet these guys, just come in and work.
Come into the store, they're there.
I had invited them to come and be on TV with me, and the answer was, we have to stay and tend the store while Mom's gone. Because when I was in the store, there were all kinds of treasures, and I said, oh, may I take this one? I've never seen the likes of this before. I mean, every tambourine I ever saw was a big circle. Mm-hmm. Now they've come up with a real grip
on it, and you can hit it on your hand, so the volume, you can hit it hard, so the volume is loud. Yeah. Well, of course, the paper in it doesn't help any.
Oh, we don't.
Well, but see, by hitting it on anything, it'll give it a lot more volume than the old one did.
Well, I got a musical instrument in there because all of a sudden I saw this and I went, oh, wow. What is it?
It's a kazoo. Mm-hmm.
Like that?
Hum. You gotta hum. Mm-hmm. Little kids love it and young children love it.
Well, I was reminded that ours had a little round thing with the same sound, and it was called?
A humazoo.
I think both of them came
from difference, yeah.
From a comb and a piece of wax paper. Isn't it the same principle?
You could do that, yes. Only your lips would tingle. You know,
now, who are the customers that come in and get these?
Oh, travelers usually. But like last summer, I had a group from Crescent City come over. They had a kazoo band, and they bought two boxes full. They bought 100 kazoos from me for the whole band.
Can't you
That was
imagine
kinda
on the
cute.
way home the music?
Oh gosh, it would drive you crazy.
I think my brother Henry, who introduced me to you, was recorded with his Hamazoo band when he was in 1st or 2nd grade.
Uh-huh.
And they went to Medford and they cut at some shop, they cut a record, and I remember as it went around, this curl of
Material
Vinyl?
from the record. Uh-huh.
oh my, you remember these things. What have you brought to show us?
Well, I brought I'm really into a vintage instrument, and this is a 1916 ukulele made in Hawaii. It's all koa wood, and it's got your wood pegs. Geared keys weren't made then. They might have been made about that time, but that is made in Hawaii, and it's the date on it is, like I say, 1960, and it just sounds wonderful.
1916, and this was a craze during those
Those were
roaring years.
You know, the 20s was really the year for ukulele and Hawaiian music. You know, that was even before my time. I didn't think anything was before my time, but the ukulele music and ukuleles in the 20s was very popular.
So this is another priceless treasure.
It is, yeah. And the other one, of course, that's a Martin guitar. And that was made in 1860. And oh my, you can see Americans knew what they were doing when making guitars. It's priceless. It's
Oh, the inlay is beautiful.
Brazilian rosewood. You know, all that inlay is done by hand. They didn't have machines back then. 1860, there was no machines. That was hand done. It's just so gorgeous. And it just sounds beautiful.
Will you strum a couple notes for
Well,
us?
I don't play a guitar, but as you see, too, these had geared keys in it, too, or straight pegs. And someone along the way, somebody has put geared keys in it, thank goodness.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful sound. Rings and rings and rings forever. It's still ringing. You can feel it in the box. Yeah.
Wow. Now, these are both museum quality items.
Yes, they are, yeah. I just brought a couple of the older ones, you know, but I have a lot from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, 50s instruments. They don't make them like that anymore, you know. They'll never let a tree grow long enough to have the sound of the woods that are in these.
And this is a Martin?
A Martin guitar.
Hey, I
see?
didn't know
Yeah.
they made them that long ago.
1833 they started making them.
How do you know that?
Because I've read their book.
And this is a rarity.
Oh yeah, God forbid. You know, I had that in my store probably 25 or so years before I was in the warehouse, and I remembered, gosh, I have an old Martin in the warehouse, and I went and got it, and oh my goodness, when I realized what I had, I thought, you know.
Should have been under lock and key.
Oh yeah. Yeah, amazing.
Because it's just fun for me to think of you at the Martin guitar, and we, of course, the Martin family never had a musical bone. Well, Henry did. He played the bass, but it was really nice to get to meet you and to find out all this about music, because we'd taken piano lessons and, you know,
Oh yeah.
way back when. I liked the recitals. That was my favorite part
Those
of
were
music
fun,
lessons.
Yes. Yes. Now I had pianos and organs for a few years. When all three of my children were in college, I had a lot of money going out, and I had to make more money, and so I put pianos and organs in, and that was an interesting 5 years of having keyboard, and we gave concerts, organ and piano free concerts, you know, for the public back then, and it was music is just a part of everybody. It is.
Oh, wow. As I was getting ready for this show, I called a friend who's a musician, and I said, Curtis Wright is his name. I said, Curtis, how many instruments do you play? And strings are his favorite.
Oh, uh-huh.
Guitars, electric guitars, bass guitar, mandolin, you name it.
Uh-huh.
Well, when he got to 32, he slowed down, including his dippity-doo. What's that?
Well, there's a lot of foreign instruments made with strings that we'll never know the names of all of them. But they never really went very far, America was the country that made the best guitars and the best instruments. They were the best guitar maker in the world. Everybody wants an old American guitar. Everyone. That's the collectors. That's what they want. No other country made them like we did here. Our craftsmen were wonderful. And years ago at nights, the men did their craft work. Now it's TV and television and computer and stuff. But back then, in the old days, the men would do their carving and do their crafty work that they did. And boy, their instruments are just...
And winters were long, and you didn't go out and work in the fields, so beautiful.
Didn't have TV to take you away from your hobbies.
You made headlines. You made front page headlines. Meet the luckiest old lady in town. What?
I know. Well, I'm 81. That is old.
And this tells the story. Mm-hmm. How many years now have you had the business?
In February was 50 years. I opened it February 1st of 61. Yeah.
And it has fed and clothed you and three big kids.
Yes, it did. It amazes me. I made my children come to work for me and with me. As they turned 12, they had to come to the store and work after school and on Saturdays. Each one of them, as they turned 12, had to. And all three of them are in their late 50s now, and they're all still working in the store with me. And two grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh my, how, I am the luckiest old lady in town. Really, think about that. It's true.
And some people think turning 80 is the end, they've been on.
Yeah, I know it. Well, we're not on our way up. We're on our way out, and just face it.
Well, aren't the day
I am.
From the day we're born, we're kind of on our way.
Yeah, but today you think of it more so,
Indeed. You've got a paper over there, and I'm just dying to ask, what's this about?
Today I was writing down, I thought, I've had a lot of famous people really come in the store, and I started making a list, so I'll read them to you.
Please do.
Johnny Rivers, Gary Lewis, Tanya Tucker, Arlo Guthrie, Jerry Daniels, Rodney Crowell, David Grisman, Bill Currington, Steve Miller, Queensryche, the whole group came in, Roy Rogers, Susan Tedeschi. Susan Tedeschi bought several guitars from me, and so did Queensryche for my collection. Robert Cray, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Lang. I come up, all of those, and I've got pictures of them with me in the store. I took pictures of them in the store.
Well, good. I'm so pleased because we can come in, shop around, and you'll point out You point out one other thing in the store that is most unusual. I think it's the only living salesperson of a fuzzy little feathered...
Oh.
Who is your feather?
That's Kizzy, and my African gray parrot.
How old is your...
I've had her there 29 years now.
So she's part of the story.
She's part of it. She's part of the fixtures, yes.
On your 80th, was it the 50th year of your store?
Yeah.
Both came at just about the same time.
Well, no, my 80, It's just two different papers, but they're both mentioning it's the 50 years of being in business.
And so they wrote up articles about you and told stories about you. I thought that was neat.
Well, they come in and interviewed me.
Yes.
You know, and so I knew, you know, something was happening. But it was just wonderful. It's all true, and I'm still getting people coming in and ask about it. It's so cute. Or, you know, I saw your article in the paper, and
I told you about this, the sweet lady that saw me at Medford at the fashion show, and she came up. On TV.
Oh.
She was so sweet, and I asked her if she'd like to be on with me, because she was 80, I'm sure. Oh no, but I watch it every week. Here's some photos I took of you and your parrot.
Oh, really?
And who are those kids?
Oh, well, that's the FedEx delivery guy there delivering a package, and the other is my daughter, Peggy.
And there's another kid.
Yeah, well, that's my grandson.
And the cat was running so fast that I didn't quite get...
That's a dog, yeah. That's Charlie. My grandson's new, what is it, a bull terrier, an English bull terrier with that big nose and big face. God, it's just a kick in the pants.
It runs fast.
It is so cute. It's just a puppy.
Now, next door to you is another shop that's really your shop too.
Oh yeah, it's combined, yeah.
And I met that young man, and he said, well, he was much too busy to come and be on TV. Tell me his name.
Scott.
Scott is your little...
That's my oldest, the bald-headed one. That's my oldest son. Yeah.
And Scott said...
Does the home theater business. He does home theater.
Well, Scott was saying that he had worked for a company that builds houses, and he puts the wiring in.
No, well, the contractors all like him because he's so thorough and does a good, clean job, and he's honest and a professional. And so the contractors, most of them want him to do their homes, wire them for sound.
He put the sound in my niece's house. And then he put some kind of long distance radio. I don't know what you would call that.
Oh, XM, probably XM radio, yes.
And when my nephew, Marcel, could now tune into Holland, and he was so excited. What a fun story to work locally here, shop locally. People come from all around, and when you wonder what to do with your old records, I went into the Better Living Center,
yes,
and I picked up, just on the same property here as our studio, and I said, do you have any old records? I'd just like to show some 45s and some old LPs. And look at this one, Marian Anderson.
Oh my, yes.
She came to Grants Pass to do a concert.
Really?
But I'm told the story is that there wasn't a place for her to stay in town.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Now,
well, that must have been a lot of years ago.
That was a lot of years ago.
Yeah, because I heard that it was a real redneck town.
Well, I tell you, I'm told from Eugene to almost Reading. It was the same.
Boy.
Klamath, it's to the coast. Walt's favorites. Now, Sammy Kaye. Do you remember?
Oh, sure.
Those were the days.
Swing and Sway with Sammy Kaye.
That's right.
Remember?
On the radio. Roger Williams.
Oh,
these old records. People donate them in they then have a shop. They sell them on this property. Things that are just given. Hank Williams. You remember this?
Oh my goodness! But that is, that's Hank Williams Jr.
Oh,
that's the original Hank Williams' son.
You'd know that too.
Yeah.
Now tell me about this. What have we?
An old student model flute.
and that was their center, and they said, find out how much it's worth. You know, it could have been sold at a yard sale for $5 or...
I don't know. I don't go to yard sales, so I don't know. But if they sell them at the wrong time, yes. If you put them in the yard sale in the fall when school starts, you know, a lot of people are looking for good used ones then. But once that passes, you will...
Good used one. I tell you, even that case is good used one.
Uh-huh.
So about what do you think this might be worth?
Well, I think today a person could get about $100 for it.
Because it's a good starter.
Yeah, it's a great starter. And the new ones are just getting more expensive all the time, you know, and more expensive.
Okay, now give me the sales pitch of why kids should have music in their life.
Oh, I don't know the real reason. It's just, it sure is nice to have music. And it's nice to be doing your work and humming maybe with, you know, or just about anything you can do today, you can have music with you. And people do. We put them in motorcycles, we put them in golf carts, and we put them in, you know, Winnebagos, we put them in a trailer house, we put them on, golly, I can't.
Well, I see people with those
everything.
Walkmans on their bike.
On their bikes, yeah.
What is the best part of 50 years? Tell me 2 instances that just put a smile on your face. You went home talking about it. What kind of...
Oh my goodness, there's so many of those times happen.
Well, you told me one already, so I'm going to ask you to tell me.
Which one?
A young lad comes into your store.
I know, yes.
Please,
Oh, it's
fill in.
about this. His folks wanted to hear about this guitar, this old Martin guitar. And I was telling him, you know, that it's from 1860, you know. And of course, the young boy was getting kind of bored, and he said, well, I suppose now you're going to tell me it came out on horseback. And I said, wow, you know, it maybe did. Because I said, Martin started in 1833 in New York, and this was made in 1860. They were still in New York. Let's see, they didn't make cars back then. So how would it get out west? Whoa, you know. And I said, I thanked him. I said, gosh, I can add that to my story now about this Martin guitar. Maybe it did come out horseback.
Oh, now you've had young people come in and get hooked.
Yeah.
Just the bug bit them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it just pleases me, especially if they come in and they're into playing guitar. I had a young girl one time come into the store, her and her father. She was about 16, and she had a nice voice, and her dad, she wanted to play guitar, so she could sing and play guitar. Her dad wanted to buy her this particular guitar, and it was just a little old cheapy thing that was never going to sound great. You know, I mean, if you're 10 or 11, it's a good place to start. But
Sure.
She was a little smarter and older than that, and she was determined. So I talked him into buying a $250 Washburn guitar, but it was a nice one. And I told him I'd take payments from him. He could take a year or so, make payments to me, no interest or anything. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, when she came to make the last payment, her dad and her came in with the guitar, and she sat down and she sang and played that guitar, and it was, I got tears in my eyes. It was so beautiful. And it was just to thank me for talking the dad. You know, he wanted to thank me for get her a better guitar, because she learned
And she
from that.
learned so well.
Oh, yes.
Now, there was a young man that came in at 11 or 12 and got hooked, and now he's gone on to make records.
Dan Donnelly. Yeah, he's Zorro, the drummer. Yeah, and he's very famous.
And every time he comes around?
Oh, yeah, I hear from him all the time, you know. He calls me his mom. He's just a nice young man, and I think if anyone knows drummers at all, they'll know Zorro, the drummer. He played with Bobby Brown, and I can't remember all of them he played with, but he played with so many groups, famous groups. That's one thing about getting 81. You do start to forget some names along the way.
Yes, but you've got a lot of them to have remembered
I know
over.
it. Yeah, you just keep pumping them in. Let's see. I got a box of stuff from him just about a week ago, in fact, of some of his new stuff. He writes now drum lesson books, and he's married to a preacher's daughter, and he is going to become a preacher, and he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he's just a real religious, wonderful. He prayed for me several times when I was ill, and
And you're well now.
Yes.
Next time he comes to town, ask him to be on TV with me.
Oh, he'd love to.
Wouldn't that be fun?
He is so wonderful, and he's a great speaker, and just, that's a very good idea. He will. I guarantee you he will. He will for me. He'll come on.
Well, you've got this new name, I guess, that my brother gave you 40 years ago.
Oh, it was at least that, yeah.
He was just a young lad.
Yeah.
He'd come in.
He bought records, and he wrote out a check, and I didn't pay much attention to it. I just put it in the till. And then when I went to go deposit it, I looked and it said, Precious Pearl. It didn't say the music shop. So I had to sign Precious Pearl on the check.
No wonder you haven't forgotten the Martins.
That's right.
Oh, Precious Pearl, it has just been great to hear your stories, to see how you've enhanced young people's lives. Music enhances.
Oh, it does. Mm-hmm.
It's like another language, and then they're free to use it any time.
Mm-hmm. One more story.
Please.
It happened yesterday. A guy called me on the phone, and he says, Pearl, I want you to know you made me cry the other day. And I said, whoa, how did I ever do that? And he said, I came in, he says, and you let me play that Gibson, that nice Gibson you have, that old guitar. I have an ES 175. It's a 1948. It's a jazz musician's dream. It's just so beautiful. And I let him play it. Now, he's only the fourth person I've ever let play it. And he only played it a little while, and just one or two songs, and that's all. And he says, why don't you take this back? Well, come to find out, he just fell so in love with that guitar, he didn't want to play it anymore. And he went home, he said, and I started to cry. I said, well, why did you cry? He said, because I want that guitar so bad. He said,
oh, thank you for
Isn't that
being
precious?
my Pearl. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bernie saying bye for now.
Thank you.